We're in Rocky Boy, Montana, the home of the Chippewa-Cree.
Rocky Boy, or Stone Child, was our Chippewa chief. And then our Cree chief was Chief Little Bear. Back in early 1900s, they combined the two languages. They were able to understand each other because the languages are so similar. Rocky Boy is a close-knit, small community.
Smallest reservation in Montana, one of the last reservations established.
My maternal grandpa always said, when we were kids, they built schoolhouses throughout the reservation here. If they spoke their language, they would get punished.
My parents are fluent speakers, but they didn't teach us Cree because they thought that in order for us to succeed out there, we don't show our Indian. So we lost a generation of speakers. I started with being the self-governance coordinator in November of 2019. 5 months later, we got COVID.
During the COVID years, we've lost and are losing first language speakers at a high rate.
We already knew we were in a language crisis before COVID, but I think the pandemic exacerbated something that was already there. We lost at least 60% of our fluent speakers.
You're going to share these things with your young one. I'm very happy that I listened to my elder.
Those were knowledge keepers, first language speakers, cultural leaders, ceremonial leaders, and we lost all that knowledge. Our leader, I guess you could call her, Brenda St. Pierre, she was scared for our language, for our babies, our future kids.
My name is Good Earth. Maskutitsi Utsinia. I like Maskutitsi, and the other way is Asini Watsisik. 'Cause I like to say I'm from the Bear Paw Mountains. I was saying that 2 days a week wasn't enough, and so I went to the council and we came up with a plan on what we were going to do.
So at that time, the council, they called a state of emergency.
So being where I was detached from the culture, like I said, it took me down a path where was destructive. I was picking up charges here in Rocky Boy from fighting so much. I was mean, I was mad, I was looking for something. I started dabbling in methamphetamines, drinking, going from reservation to reservation, selling drugs. And in my head at that time, it was the only way I could make money. Only way I was able to pay my bills on my own. Only way I was able to buy them school clothes. And my son, seeing how I was living, how I was feeling, and he took me over to the college and he said, go in here and grab an application. There's this program that's gonna be about culture and language. I was like, why they're not gonna hire me? Because like I said, I had that feeling like I wasn't good enough to be hired anywhere because of the way I lived my life. They called me one evening, like a week after I did my interview, and said, we picked you and you start Monday. Oh my gosh, I started crying.
As a self-governance tribe, we realized that, hey, we already have a need for language revitalization in our community. So that's how the self-governance plays a role. So we are able to make decisions based on our community needs.
I was so thankful the tribe did finally come through, and they gave us money for our program.
So that's where the MCCLR program came from.
MCCLR means Mahchiminahtik. He was a spiritual leader who was given the language to share. The very first day I got here, I didn't know what to expect. The first thing we did was we prayed. And I haven't did that in a long, long time. I didn't learn much about my culture in school, but here I found other people that wanted it. to be in touch with who they are, their identity. There's different ways you could describe something in Cree. English, one word, with no connection, no feeling. With Cree, Nēhīyawēwin, you see the beauty in it of what you're describing. I love you, like, let me use that, kisagi din. Like, that's how we say, I love you, but it's not saying, I love you, it's saying you are the one I love. You, kia, you, sagi, din, ni, me, love. You are the one I love.
The language, it does make you feel like you belong. I was worried, but now with the classes, you know, it's getting better to start seeing younger people wanting it. Made me feel good.
So do you remember everything that Muslim said and how he talked and Sagwe and how he...
I have a grandson, he understands Cree. And his mom, they like speaking Cree. My daughter will speak to my mom in Cree, but I do believe deep down inside that it is healing for our people to hear their language and to know that, hey, I could start learning this. Doesn't matter how old I am. We're trying to save ourselves. And that's one of the things that self-governance allows us to do.
And you got to remember to talk Cree as much as you can, you know, Beto te, Sema, Gipa, you know.
Everything has a spirit. Our language is a spirit. I hope that it could stay with us for generations. You know, I hope that spirit don't ever die.
The westernized thinking places you as the most important person. Well, I feel with my Indigenous learning, it's not the thinking for just one. You're thinking for the people around you. You're thinking for the people you care. It's not just for you. I don't know if English even has a way to describe the beauty of Indigenous language. But when you get immersed in the language and culture, you find that. You feel it. You know where you belong. You know what you bring to your community. Any Indigenous person I encourage to reach out, find their connection with their culture and language, because no doubt they're going to find it and they're going to feel whole.
Nēhīyawēwin asigasa dao bisamogani poet. That means standing in the middle of the sun. That's his Indian name. We'll be with you. What do you say? Kiwapatain.